Hello, so I am back to have an invisible microphone. I realized that if I want to have the microphone further away or out of view, that means that I have to turn off the air conditioner. It's summer in New York City. I don't really want to turn off my air conditioner. I could get one of those, fancy schmancy noiseless setups. We'll talk about that when the YouTube ad revenue hits 20,000 bucks a month. Those things are really expensive. But otherwise, today what I want to do is talk a little bit about the subject of worth, since that was brought up a lot in my minimum wage video. So we had people on both sides of the fence. There were some good arguments to be had in that video, and then there were some of the arguments in the comments where people were just beating and berating and insulting one another. So one thing I'd ask, whether you agree or disagree with each other in the comments, please try to be people to each other. That being said, one of the comments that came up a lot was, Lewis, what kind of asshole are you to decide what somebody is worth? People who think that they can decide what another individual or a job is worth, what pieces of shit? And the reason I bring this up is because this in and of itself, I believe, is a large misconception. So I want to use an example that came up in my YouTube messages recently. So somebody linked me to a video on this channel called Tech Racks, and they asked what I thought of the content. It was a video of them tasing an iPhone, and then you see it break, and then there was another video with the 12-inch MacBook going through a table saw. Now, the individual that sent me the message thought I would love that content because I'm not the biggest fan of Apple, and I think that in and of itself is a bit of a misconception. I prefer not to use Apple products for myself. I don't use them, but I do understand how for other people, how it's going to make them productive. How somebody else with a MacBook Pro will be more productive with the MacBook Pro than with any other laptop. How somebody else with an iPhone will be more productive with an iPhone than they will with every other phone. And I respect that. That's the reason that I make these things work again. Is if there's somebody else out there that doesn't have a phone or doesn't have a laptop but they can then take this laptop that would have otherwise been in the garbage and use it for school or filming a documentary or programming a great program, that's great. I think that's a good thing. So to watch something get senselessly destroyed that could legitimately work again, that is reasonably fixable, or is something that's not even broken get destroyed, I just see that as kind of a waste. I don't really particularly enjoy that content. I don't see it as having a point. I don't see it as being worth much. And I didn't think the video that I saw was worth much of anything. Now, I want to talk about my opinion of what that video is worth. So I think that content that I saw on the Tech Racks channel, I clicked around with like 5 different videos and was just destroy this, destroy that, destroy this, destroy that. This is all stuff that could legitimately do good if you just gave it to somebody. I think that that's worthless. Now, let's talk about what my opinion of their worth is actually worth, or my opinion of their value. So when Tech Racks has, I would say, 20 to 50 times the subscriber count that I do, and they have about 20 to 40 times the views that I do every month. So when they log into their Google AdSense account, to their YouTube analytics, they're going to see a number, and that number is going to be the amount of money that they pulled in from advertising revenue that month. Now, how do you think my opinion of what Tech Racks' content is worth affects their advertising revenue? Nothing. It does not affect them at all. My opinion there is completely worthless. My opinion is just, it matters nothing at all in the grand scheme of things. What their advertisers are willing to pay them, what their viewers are willing to watch, how many people are willing to watch their stuff, and how many people enjoy their content is going to be completely independent of my thought of what that content is worth. So the reason I bring this up is because a lot of people think that an employer, a single politician, a single user has the right to determine what somebody is worth, when in reality it is not the individual that decides this, it is society. I'm a business owner, I make content on YouTube, and I make tech stuff. And I have an opinion. And that opinion, in and of itself, by itself, is 110% worthless crap. If somebody from Tech Racks would even watch this video, they would just be laughing because it's like, we don't give a fuck what this jackass with his fucking striped shirt and burlap shit on the wall thinks of our stuff. Fuck him, because it doesn't affect them. It doesn't affect the users, it doesn't affect the advertisers, it doesn't affect the viewers, it doesn't affect anything. And the same is true when it comes to jobs. It's not the individual, it's society. If society, meaning advertisers and viewers and content platforms, think something is valuable, It's valuable. It doesn't matter what the individual thinks. And the same is going to be true with jobs. Now, the point I was getting across with the minimum wage video, the entire point there is rather than focusing on raising minimum wage, I want you to put the same amount of effort into focusing on increasing your own self-value, your own worth, so that when you go out there into the world, people are more willing to pay you for a number of different jobs. If you put the time, the energy, and the effort that you put into hating minimum wage, trying to learn something new, that will help you a lot more. That will make you more valuable. And when you are more valuable, it will be easier to make more money than it will be if you have this lower skill set, but then try to lobby for your right to make more money with the same skill set. I thought that that was something that was basic common sense. But what do I know? And the reason I bring this up is that people have this idea that the employer is going to set the value of the cashier at Whole Foods. The politician is going to set the value of the cashier at Whole Foods. So my Whole Foods has something like 37 or 38 cashiers. They have a lot of cashiers. And when I go there, I wait in line for an average of 2 to 5 minutes. Now, if you were to ask everybody in that line, hey, we could either keep the same amount of wait time, but the cost of everything in the store that you bought is going to go up 40%. Or you could wait an extra 5 minutes. We're going to get rid of half the cashiers, but the prices stay the same. The thing is, like, society is going to set the worth there. Like, it's not the employer. The employer could say, okay, we're going to pay all the cashiers more money. We're going to make some of the products more money. So, but are the people that shop at Whole Foods going to be willing to pay? They may be willing to wait an extra 2 or 3 minutes in line, but they may not be willing to pay a 20 or 30 or 40% increase on all the cost of goods rather than simply going over to Trader Joe's 1 block down. It's the people that are waiting online that are setting the worth of the job. It's not the politician. It's not the CEO of Whole Foods. It's not me. It's not the individual. It is going to be the society that sets this. The same could go for any job with any business with cashiers. If you go to Best Buy and they have 15 cashiers, would you rather pay the same amount of money but deal with waiting because we have 3 cashiers, or would you rather pay 30% more for your iPod but check out in a minute? I mean, if you're going to raise the price, okay, maybe I go to Amazon. Now, you go to Amazon. Would you rather have Prime be free 2-day shipping or Prime be free 1-day shipping, but you pay 30% more for the good? You know what? Maybe I'll just wait a day. I don't think people think about this. I don't think people think about the fact that society is actually going to set the value of a lot of these jobs, is that we as a community, we as a people come together and collectively decide what we are willing and what we are not willing to pay for. The only reason that there is a KFC every 10 blocks in certain areas is that it's cheap to open another KFC. If you say that it's going to cost twice as much money to open that KFC, maybe it's not worth it. Maybe, will you be willing to pay more for the fried chicken? Or will you simply walk 3 blocks down to get fried chicken? Or will you just decide, fuck it, I'm just going to get pizza tonight since that KFC costs more money? Or fuck it, I'm just going to get pizza tonight because that KFC is no longer there. Those things are not considered of incredibly high value to society. People may be willing to wait longer. They may be willing to just do something else. Yet, a real-world example here, it could be a plumber. So I remember about 7-8 years ago having my gas turned off because I had very little money, and I would pick and choose which bills I paid and when I paid them very carefully. And I know what it's like to take a cold shower. I know what it's like to take a cold shower in the summer. Sucks, but at least the water cooler is like 75, 80 degrees. I know what it's like to take a cold shower in the winter when the water cooler is like 30, 20. Never doing that again. Now, I will pay ridiculous amounts of money to never have to deal with a freezing shower ever again. Fuck that. That is just a unique form of misery. So let's say I have a problem on my bathroom, my toilet's not flushing, and my shower is not working. I'm not getting hot water. Now, I call up a bunch of plumbers. There's a plumber that can come Friday. There's a plumber that can come Thursday. There's a plumber that can come today, but he wants 3 times as much money as the plumber that can come Thursday or Friday. Most people are going to pay that 3 times as much money simply so that they don't have to take a cold shower or so that they have a place to shit. If you live someplace where you simply cannot go downstairs and ask your neighbor if you can take a shit, if you live someplace where you simply cannot just go next door and take a shower, that may be highly valuable to you. I was willing to pay 3 times as much for the plumber that said, I'll be there in 45 minutes, because I don't want to take a shower that's cold when it's 27 degrees outside, and because I want to be able to take a shit somewhere other than a garbage pail or my sink. You know, I assign a high value to that service. And most of the people who are not willing to pay the extra 30% to just have the line move a little bit faster at Whole Foods may be willing to pay ridiculous amounts more money to have a plumber that says, I'll be there in 45 minutes. This is society's way of saying, you know what? We need more plumbers, but I think we have enough cashiers right now. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we got enough cashiers right now. We don't need any more cashiers right now. But you know what we need more of? We need more plumbers. And then you get to see the prices of the services, you see what people are willing to pay, and it all starts to come together. It all starts to make sense. It's supply and demand. And supply and demand is something that is very, very difficult to deal with when you start applying this legislative process to it that's going to say, I don't care what the supply and the demand is, we're going to make this worth this. My point is that society kind of comes together to set what these services are worth. It's not the individual. And the reason that I want this to be seen as an uplifting, as an encouraging thing to you rather than a condescending thing, is that a lot of people are going to have ideas and they're going to be told by individuals that their ideas suck. I want you to think about that guy at TechRax. Like, imagine that guy at TechRax that started that channel. Imagine him going into a standard, let's say, you know those really strict Catholic schools with the nuns that they used to have in Brooklyn and New York City? Think of like the really strict Catholic school nun, and going in there and saying, you know what, instead of completing my senior year of high school, I think I'm going to film an iPhone going through a taser, and then I'm going to film myself swimming in Coca-Cola, and then I'm going to film myself cutting a laptop in half. The nun would probably they would take the ruler, and like before you even saw anything move, you would already have a huge black and blue on your wrists and on your palms, where there was once nice healthy skin, because they would have beat the shit out of you. They said this is the stupidest fucking idea in the world. However, go to any of these high schools and point out a single employee, salaried employee at these high schools that are making as much money as the TechRax channel does in AdSense revenue. Which one is more valuable to society? If let's say that person had went to that high school nun and brought them their idea and they said that's dumb, and then they bring it to their parents and they say that's dumb, they may not be making $10,000 to $20,000 a month off AdSense, or even more than that, who the hell knows, from that channel, because everybody just said, oh, that idea is worthless. But the thing is that it wasn't the individual, it wasn't the teacher, it wasn't the parent, it wasn't the friend that set the value, it was society. So if you get 40 million people a month that want to come watch a MacBook go through a table saw or get tased, then guess what? That's valuable. You may have an idea that you think is valuable, and other people may tell you that that idea is not valuable. And guess what? If society finds that idea valuable, screw the employer, screw your parents, screw your friends, their opinion is worthless. The opinion of society as a whole is so much more valuable than the opinion of an individual. No one individual gets to set worth. If I decide to put up a job ad for somebody to do component-level iPhone data recovery on saltwater damaged devices for $8.75 an hour, I'm not going to find anybody who shows up that can actually do that. I may not even have anybody show up at all and pretend to know how to do that. Just because I put up the ad and I'm an employer does not mean that I will actually get that. And I don't think people understand or realize that concept, that the employer is not the one who is going to set the worth. I can say this is what I'm willing to pay, and then nobody shows up. And there you go. Because society has valued that at much more money. The individuals who know how to do that know that they're worth much more than $8.75 an hour. Therefore, they are not going to show up for that. If I decide that I am only going to pay you $8.75 an hour, that guy is going to say, go fuck yourself, and he's going to go out there and start recovering data from saltwater damaged phones, collecting money from the customer directly, and making a lot more than $8.75 an hour. The other point that came up with this argument was, that person should not be allowed to make so much money doing what they do. I do real work, I bust my ass every day, what I do is hard, or what I do requires thinking, or what I do may endanger me of getting hurt. I have to lift heavy boxes in a warehouse, and it's 100 degrees in this warehouse, and I get paid shit. That person should not be allowed to make so much money doing something that's easy. And here's what I would say. I always try to avoid arguing when arguing is not necessary. Rather, I decide to say, okay, you're right. Let's do that. So let's say that I am, let's say I'm saying that these people should not be making all that money doing that, off of taking a MacBook and putting it through a table saw. How about this? How about instead of arguing about what somebody else is allowed to make, how about just going over to the dark side? Like, how about you take a DJI Phantom or whatever and fly it into a table saw? Because that hasn't been done yet. I've seen people put MacBooks and phones through saws. Haven't seen anybody fly a drone through a table saw. How about you have a table saw and you mount it on a wall and you have the drone go into it and you film it in slow motion? I don't know. Try to provide something that somebody else may find valuable. I see this with the video game channels too. I'll see people say, you know, I use ad block because these people don't deserve to make money. They're talentless hacks, and when I watch their content, they're not going to make money on it. And I just like go, oh my God, do you not get it? If they're talentless hacks, if you believe that they don't deserve money, stop watching their stuff. The reason that they make money is because there are millions and millions and millions of people out there that are willing to watch them play games. I'm not going to say whether or not I find that content valuable, but what I will say is that if you believe that content is worthless, stop watching it. Don't install ad block so that they don't make money when you watch it. Simply don't watch it. Or if you find it so valuable that you yourself are watching it, even when you hate the person, how about you start doing what they're doing? Because what they're doing is valuable. I may, again, you know, one of the interesting things for me was logging into one of these videos that got a ridiculous amount of views. It was a board repair that wasn't successful. My cat walked up to me before, and now I think I have a cat hair on my face, and it's driving me nuts. One of the things that, it was a video of a board that I didn't fix. It was something like how to find shorts without a $6,000 FLIR cam. That video, it either made $250 or $400. It was one of the very, very few videos that I did where I actually made more than like $5 or $10 off of it after a long period of time. And that video made maybe $250 to $400, but the board was unfixable. And I logged in and I realized that there was a revelation there. That I made, in the no fix, no fee model, I made $0 for fixing that motherboard. However, the journey of fixing it was actually valuable to society to the tune of $250 to $400. Society placed a higher worth on watching the journey of me fixing that board than the customer placed on me not fixing that board. And that really, like, it just triggered a switch in my mind where it's like, huh, so I did not fix it, but I got paid more for not fixing it on camera than I would have been paid for fixing it off camera. It just got me thinking about things like that. Like, there are so many things that I've done in life where I would have made less money than that. I could have stocked everything at Modell Sporting Goods, and I would have made less money for that entire shift than I did that 1 hour of filming that stupid little board repair. And you get to a point where it's like, okay, let's just not argue. So the reason that I bring this up is I want you to be thinking about what other things you can be doing. Rather than focusing on this negative shit all the time, this person should not be making money with a table saw. This person should not be making money playing video games. This person should not be making money talking about politics. How about you see that as a happy thing? Well, your job is hard. Their job is something that you perceive to be easy. Your job is something that you make no money at. Their job is something where you perceive that they're getting rich. What do you make, Mr. Clinton? How much money do you make, boy? Can you afford wellness? Oh, you want attention. Good kitty. So you perceive their job to be a cushy, easy job where they make a lot of money. You perceive your job to be a difficult job that makes you little money. Well, that's a win-win situation right there. What, you don't understand? Okay, you do a difficult job for crap pay. They do an easy job for a lot of money. If you think that what they do is easy, then go do what they do and make a ton of money. That's what I do. I try to think of things I try to framework my life in these win-win scenarios where if I'm wrong, then okay, if I'm wrong, therefore I get to be happy, or I'm right, therefore what I'm doing is right, and I get to validate myself. Like one way or the other, I'm going to win. You think that their job is very, very simple, and their job makes a lot more money. Go do what they're doing. Go do what these other people are doing that everybody, and I understand that not everybody is going to get 50 million subscribers playing video games. You don't have to be the next PewDiePie. You don't have to be the next Tech Racks. You don't have to put a MacBook through a table saw. Put a drone through a table saw. This is something that I did with my channel. I remember watching some of this stuff, but even just YouTube content. I used to think, oh, this person builds a computer. He's going to show you building a computer. Any jackass can build a computer, and he's probably making $10,000 a month. I could think that way and go, woe is me. Or I could say, well, he's showing you how to do something that's really easy and making money. Imagine if I showed you how to do something that's really hard that nobody else is showing you how to do in that same field. Could I get paid off of it? So I decided, okay, let's put a camera on my shoulder and I'm going to show you how to fix a motherboard. And those videos suck balls. But people watch them. And then I got a better camera and I did those, and now I have videos, and hey, I'm not making $10,000 to $20,000 a month off it, but I have a little graph. A little graph is going up a little bit every day. Win-win. Try to turn the stuff that's negative into something that's positive. That's all I have to say for today. I've kind of been long-winded, and I don't know if I got my point across too well. Don't fight in the comments. Try to be nice to one another. Try to not be all this Bernie-loving motherfucker and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, just stop. Just try to have a nice discourse. Because what I'm doing now with the comments, I used to not delete stuff, but I got to this point where somebody asked me, this was like the turning point for me. Somebody asked me a question to which the answer was no. They edited their question to say, Louis, do you shower? So that it would look like I said no. And that was literally the turning point to which I just said, fuck it, I'm just going to start deleting comments. Because at first I said everybody should have the right to speak, but then I'm just thinking to myself, and it's like, why am I protecting a 4-year-old's right to speak on this stuff? Like, so if I see stuff like that, I'm just going to start reporting it as spam. Not deleting it, but I'm going to report it as spam so that YouTube can then see that, and then that shit hopefully will never show up in anybody else's videos. So try to keep a nice discourse in the comments. Tell me what you think, and that's it for today.